There was this combination show that was released, Grim and Evil, which was the fusion of two separate cartoons, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne. At some point, the shows became their own two separate things. While Billy and Mandy went on for 6 seasons and years, Evil Con Carne only made it partway through its 2nd season, and it's not so fondly remembered today. There's a misconception that the show was nixed because Billy and Mandy just outshone it on every level, but actually, no, the shows actually had similar ratings. The decision was on the creator, Maxwell Adams, who found that it was just too much to be showrunning 2 cartoons at the same time, so he picked one of the 2 shows and basically ended the other one, this one. And I have to say, he made the right choice. This isn't going to be a long review because there's just not much to talk about. So the premise is really simple. What if we followed the villain? That's it. That's the whole thing. That's the whole show. I mean, there is more to it, obviously, but that's the heart and soul of what we're dealing with here. I guess for this to make sense, I'm gonna have to take you back a few decades. In the early 2000s, this was a fresh idea. It was almost unheard of for media to follow the point of view of the villain in a story. That wasn't like the twist in a horror plot. Like, think of any piece of media, especially for kids. In the 80s and the 90s, pretty much all of them followed the good guy, at least in theory. The concept of following the show's villain as the protagonist was pretty fresh in the early 2000s. But since then, we're in a vastly different world. First was video games, where we got this new concept called a moral choice system, where you could be super duper evil by eating live chickens or whatever. And of course you'd have Grand Theft Auto, which was games about committing crimes, paving the way for shock shit like hatred. And then the rest of the media followed, making villains full-on protagonists of their own stories, especially in the superhero world. But the trend followed through even for animation aimed at more general audiences. We have Megamind, Despicable Me, even Phineas and Ferb had some of the stuff with Doofenshmirtz. What I'm trying to say is that time has not been kind to this one. You want a review of Evil Con Carne? It's only 3 words long. Go watch Villainous. That shows the same basic idea, but the characters are just so much better. It has so much better pacing, and it just feels more. It's the Seinfeld effect. I mean, Billy and Mandy was something like this too. It portrayed the Grim Reaper, the personification of Death Almighty, as an idiot who became the eternal slave of 2 children. That kind of portrayal of death was also pretty uncommon as far as I can tell. The few things that did use death as a comedic foil did at least try to keep the idea that he could end your life at any point. You know, kept the idea that he was still a threatening force, until Grim and Evil, where death became completely pathetic. I might just be trying to be nice here, because the reality of the situation is that Evil Con Carne is simply a comedy show that is not funny. The premise is that this guy who wants to take over the world was blown up by a fish. His brain and stomach manages to survive, and they're put on a circus bear that constantly causes problems. Because I guess that's a comedic premise. It's supposed to be absurd, but absurd with no logic or reason can't really sustain something like this. And it doesn't. The longer you go on, the more you wonder why the bear is even there. They tried the robot body the one time, but even ignoring that, like, other characters could move Hector around. I don't understand why the stomach is there at all. I don't even mean, like, practically speaking, because it's obviously stupid for the sake of stupid. I mean, I don't know why it's there because I don't know why anyone would consider the stomach funny.
We have the perfect shot!
I just can't do it!
Why not?
I haven't the stomach for it!
I'll make you good!
The characters in the show just aren't memorable or special. What they are is incredibly inconsistent. The show doesn't last long at all, but sometimes General Scar is smart enough to usurp Hector, and sometimes he's not able to realize that an obvious bomb is an obvious bomb. Sometimes Dr. Ghastly is super caring about Hector to the point where they randomly have a son that comes back from the future. And sometimes she shows, like, no care at all for what he's going through, and it's fine with him being in the pickle jar for 6 months. Sometimes Hector has complete control over the bear, sometimes he doesn't. Whatever works for the joke you're currently trying to tell, I guess. I mean, the characters do have their gimmicks, I guess. The bear is a bear. General Scar wants to be the one to take over the world, even though that's why he's working for Hector. For some reason, he can't wait like 5 minutes for Hector to take over the world. He needs to try and destroy Hector before Hector enacts his plans to take over the world, and ends up constantly ruining said plans. Also, Ghastly is there. These characters just don't really have much chemistry with each other. None of them come close to, like, Norm or Vanessa. Like I Am Weasel, this is another show that I can't outright call bad. It didn't piss me off or gross me out, but there is just nothing here. Even more nothing than I Am Weasel. This is the kind of show that just makes me feel like I wasted my time. And I guess I wasted all of your time too. I'm pretty sure that Evil Con Carne does have its fans somewhere, but quite honestly, I have no idea why. Billy and Mandy is still pretty cool though. I'm gonna watch some more of that. Once again, right choice of the show to continue. My god, the universe where this was the one that he picked. That would truly be the worst timeline.